In this video, we'll learn how wire is a reactive in nature. Okay, so let's go to our VS Code, and we are referring the same demo that we have used in previous video. You might have think like why I'm using a hard-coded ID if I already have a user ID available, right? So let's replace this ID and see what will happen. So I'll replace this ID. I'll say this dot user ID and this dot user ID, and let's deploy this. Now it should be dynamic, right? So on load, ID will come and the user ID will get the ID, and this record ID should have that user ID. And let's go to our org. Let's refresh the page. And now you see we got the error and it say cannot read property user ID of undefined. So why it's so? Let's go to code and let's try to understand what's happening. So when we are importing something from a module, and in this case we are importing ID from a module user slash ID Salesforce user, that is a asynchronous process, right? It's going and fetching that ID, and before this ID comes, it triggers the get record adapter. Basically it called the get record method, and that time user ID was undefined, and this method expects some ID to be passed. That's why it throws an error. So how to solve this issue actually? And to solve this issue, we have an approach by which we prove wire is reactive in nature. Reactive means once the data available, immediately update it. Okay, so to make this property a reactive, we have to use a dollar in front of the property. Just remember, maximum time people do the mistake, they will write dollar this dot user ID. When we make a property as is reactive, we'll say dollar and the property name without this, and it should be in the quotes. And we call the wire service reactive in part because it supports reactive variables, and we are prefixed with dollar. And if a reactive variable change, the wire service provision the new data. So as soon as that it comes, it immediately hits and bring the data. So let's deploy and see how our reactive properties are working. And if it works, it proves wire service is a reactive in nature because its properties are reactive. The time it gets the value, immediately it fetches the data. So let's go back to our org and refresh the page. And now you see it started working. And this is how we use reactive variables in the wire service. And now this approach also we're gonna use heavily with the record IDs because our record we will fetch the so many record IDs dynamically and we'll assign those IDs dynamically. So this is all about wire service now, and now we'll look into the different types of wire adapters and we'll play around with all adapters in more detail. So I'll see you in the next video.